I don't know. I hear a name like Perfume, and I think like infidelity or something. Like it's an allusion to like you came home smelling like someone else, or something like that. But I don't know. I didn't catch any like overt or explicit allusions to that.
Have you read the Patrick Süskind novel, Perfume?
No, no.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that either.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name's Andy. 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm the last person on this plane still awake. I can almost smell the blood washing against the shores of this land that can't forget its past. Oh, the wind that carries this plane is the wind of change, heaven sent and hell bent. Over the mountain tops we go, just like all the other GI Joes. EI, adios. Not more on that later, because we've got a song to listen to. Because it's Friday, and it is a song requested by one of our lovely viewers. And as he slowly scrolls up his notes. um, so we've discussed this song, and I know it already. So Andy's the one going to react to it. It's a song which was recommended by 2011 John James. I hope that's not the year he was born, because it's well past your bedtime, young man. um, so from the episode Flowered Up, Weekender, fuck off and die. Yes. From that, John James 2011 suggested a song by the band Paris Angels. I know certain people of a certain age will go all a quiver hearing that name. And of course, the song is Perfume, loved up version. So that's what Andy's going to bring off and listen to. And Andy, you can confirm that you have not heard this before?
Never in my life.
Hmm. Well, your life is about to change. In a very, very small way.
All right. Well, I'm all strapped in and ready to go. So I will saunter off, give this thing a listen, and come back and let you all know what I think. Okay. Okay, 50 seconds in. It started off, got like serious like EDM vibes. All of this sounded very synthesized, digitized. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not necessarily something I would like be first in line to scope out, but that's kind of the beauty of this channel, is to listen to some stuff that perhaps you wouldn't normally listen to, but perhaps you will like. And so far I find this 50 seconds pretty enjoyable. Um, I think what is really cool about it is how now we're into this almost like I don't know. It sounded like we're getting kind of like indie guitar stuff ish, and it shifts from that very house music-y type sound into that rather seamlessly. I mean, I know I stopped it, but that's not to say it was seamless. It was like it wasn't seamless. It was just um, unexpected that that's where it turned, and it's kind of cool that they did that. That they're trying to create this seemingly anyway, 50 seconds in, trying to create this amalgam of like indie rock or indie guitar type stuff with clearly this EDM sound that they established from the song's jump. But yeah, cool. Let's see what we have here. Also, killer production work on the panning of sounds from can to can here in the speakers. Um, so interesting to me that, like, I know this is such a live type sound. Like, people want to go to house shows and see this kind of stuff, or like discos, and feel the energy of this music. But something's got to be said for how good it sounds. Through the speakers post production in this kind of environment. Really good. Okay, so it's pretty clear that we've got two different vocalists on this track, and I've got to say, no offense to this gentleman here, but it sounds like we've got a female voice. I'm hoping I'm right on that. A female voice earlier in the song, and she's got this. It's funny that the name is Paris Angels, because she's got this almost like angelic, ethereal, airy quality to her delivery that I find really like attractive to the ear, and I'm liking that. This little monotony in the male delivery. Interesting, like, dichotomy between those two sounds. But I think I would flock to her voice before his. No offense intended. Just my druthers. But yeah, let's take this back a little bit. Love that guitar.
So silly things are always easy to blame. Try to grow up, don't always be the same. Don't take the reins and lead me all the way. Don't shut me up, don't take away my game.
What was that? That was like this really slow burn crescendo of like almost like an alarm sound, something to that nature. But like because it was so stretched, almost like it was yawning. Odd, interesting. I liked it. It was clearly pleasing to the ear. I had to stop and talk about it. Also, like this drumming, is this like drum machine, actual drums, or a combination of the both? Because at times it sounds definitely like one of the two, and I can't quite put my finger on it. So if you know, answers in a postcard. All right, back to the track.
Don't blame me now, 'cause I'll blame it all on you.
I'm sorry, I really liked that because the thing that caught me as the sort of the winding up, the slow wind up, is actually now it's like a crescendo versus a decrescendo. It's like they turned up with that a moment ago, and now just now, they've sort of unwound it and it's gone back down. Interesting kind of bookending to this portion of the song here, where they've used that as kind of like these lines of demarcation or something musically. Really, really cool. Interesting stuff. I'm going to take that back. Sorry, folks. I know it's over a 5-minute song, but I'm liking some of the techniques they're using here.
Don't blame me now, 'cause I'll blame it all on you.
This is another kind of like revving or like upward sound that I don't know what it is in the background, but I really, really like it. I don't know. It adds to the music and it gives it this like lift, this almost like industrial buoyancy.
We're going stupid once again, and I left it up to
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Again, this isn't something that I would like seek out, but I really enjoyed giving this song a listen. I'd like to listen to it again in the future, give it future listens, I should say, and see if it grows on me a bit, because there's definitely something there. Tend to like. I think John and I are both a little prickly with the amount of synth and digital stuff we like in our music. And there's this weird gray area, and I don't know when it's crossed or not, but that sometimes I'm like, this is too manufactured sounding. This isn't organic sounding enough. But this like towed the line so well that I'm kind of intrigued by it, and I thought it was a pretty decent song. Yeah, I really liked it. So, Yeah, let's get back to John, learn a little bit more about this band, a little bit more about this tune, so I can get a better understanding um, of it. All right, back to John.
Right, you're back from
I am.
all perfumed up. What do you make of this little number?
Bit of a curveball here. I wasn't expecting some of what I got here. So
Yes,
that was interesting to say the least. We get this manic flurry of like digital synth sounds and what sounds
yes.
like a drum machine kind of get this thing started. Though I have to admit, as the song progressed, there were times where I like questioned whether it was a drum machine or actual drums, or maybe they switched between the two at different
I
junctures
think
of
it's
the
both.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I gotta say, if that beginning bit, I don't know, 20 seconds, let's say it was, or whatever, of this like this digi synthy sound, this like EDM sound, I could almost see that for some reason in my brain, and you and I both have this thing where we're like kind of cinematic in our listening experience, but I could see it almost being like on repeat as like the music for a scene in a Guy Ritchie film where someone's getting the shit kicked out of them. You know what I mean? Some gangsters getting yoked out of the back of a car in slow mo, and this song like it's like play. It just had Guy Ritchie written all over in my head for some reason.
Do you know?
So
Do you know
that's
what that? Do you know what it does for me? I just think of Patrick Bateman straight away. I don't know why, but
oh
I
okay, okay,
do. That's
interesting.
the difference. That's the
Yeah,
difference. Guy Ritchie, Patrick Bateman. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So no, you're fine. I took it there. So things shift a bit, and there's almost this like kind of like we talked about with the drums, but on a more macro level, there's just kind of like an amalgam of these like the aforementioned synthy sounds and some of this fun like indie guitar work that comes in around the 44-second mark. And there's some brief like vocalizing that happens over that. And I'm getting shades of like EDM, like I mentioned before, from all like the digital synthy stuff, almost techno vibes, but also like acid rock and indie rock from the guitar and the real drum aspect of it, or the parts that I thought were real drum aspects of it. So it's an interesting kind of like cocktail that we've got going on here.
Yes, exactly.
At around the 136 marker, their proper lyrics are finally delivered, I believe, and it's kind of like this airy sort of manner to the vocal delivery, and it's all happening over top of this like swirling cacophony of digital sounds. And these vocals are light and airy, like I mentioned, and they seem to be provided by a female vocalist. But by the 212 marker, we're introduced to a second vocalist who's clearly male, and they're delivering their part in a bit more of like a monotone approach to it. So, needless to say, I gravitated more towards the female vocalist in this track. Um, and at this point, I'm really enjoying this bright guitar work happening over the drums. It pairs really well together, and it also pairs really well with this airy, ethereal nature to the female vocalist as well. So they all kind of like really work together. Those three. Um, Around the 330 marker, there begins the slow escalation of an almost alarm kind of sound. It's like a crescendo of like this yawning alarm. And then it goes into a bit of the vocalizing from the female singer. And then shortly thereafter, that same sound is used in a decrescendo mechanism, and it winds down rather than winding up. And I thought that was really cool. It really caught my attention, and I liked it a lot. Um, and around the 5 minute mark, there's almost this faint revving sound beneath the repeated refrain of "It's up to you, baby," and that also caught my ear. Um, and the song kind of from there winds down to its end, to completion. And I gotta say, it's not something that I would normally seek out or even be attracted to, but the song has like it does a wonderful job of towing these blurred lines between what I would call organic and manufactured sounds. Now I know if you really want to split hairs, like you're manufacturing a sound by plucking a guitar or you know a bass string or hitting a drum, but you know what I mean. This digitally manufactured music versus a human being and their instrument, and that, but they mesh really well together. And I just I respect the ability to play with both of these worlds of sound and to marry them without it sounding disjointed or muddled. And the more I think about it, I think I would probably chalk that up to not only just great choices from an arrangement standpoint, but also the production quality in this, where you get a lot of panning, and that swirling effect is only enhanced by the panning of the sounds and what comes in and what goes out and when those things occur. So yeah, again, it's not something that I would flock to. But there are songs that would be under the umbrella of EDM, or at least EDM adjacent, that I do like. It's just not one of my go-tos. So this one, it was like kind of like a happy accident getting to listen to this one. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously I've got it. But yeah, this
Cool.
is this we've spoken a lot about this before. This is that slice of time where indie meets dance. And this is on the edge of the most sort of dancey of
Yeah,
those
it's way closer to the
and
dance
electronic.
spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah. This is about this is the level of my tolerance. Beyond that, it would be just too much. Or I'm way too sober. It'd be one of those two
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I said something in the comments too, where I'm like, John and I both have this thing where we don't know where the line of demarcation is, but once it becomes too synth, it's just too much for us. And I was like, this is kind of flirting with that, but not quite. It was like right at the edge of that.
But it's a feeling, isn't it? Because I will happily listen to Kraftwerk, which is all synth, but so
Mm,
it is a feeling you get, and I think it's technique mixed with intention,
yeah.
and what they're trying to do as well. So yeah, I'll get into it. So Paris Angels, formed in 1990, kind of from Ashton under Lyne, which is in the Greater Manchester area,
Okay.
and they are associated with Manchester scene, indie rock, old dance. So, roll call. You'll like this. Scott Carey, bass and harmonica. This is not necessarily on this track, but this is what these guys do.
Okay. So a lot of
Um,
different hats are worn by these people, it sounds like.
Paul Wagstaff, drums, and it says here more drums. He later joined Black Grape, and
Nice.
then afterwards the reformed Happy Mondays, and they got back together. Simon Worrell, guitar and noises, it says. Um, Stephen Toity, it's actually written Tajti, but I read in an interview online that they actually said it's pronounced Toity as in Toity.
Okay.
So Stephen Toity, keyboards, programming. Uh, Mark Adge, rhythm guitar and percussion. Jane Gill, vocals, percussion, and Ricky Turner, vocals and woodwind. Um, so I read quite a bit about their sort of formation and how they got together in bits and pieces, but they did get together as a band, and they were an indie band, and they were hugely influenced by the Velvet Underground, lots of other bands, and Echo and the Bunnymen. And they just started either doing covers of them or trying to write songs that sounded like either of those two bands. The band's collective musical heads were turned by seeing the Happy Mondays for the first time, and then the possibilities of what they could then produce were opened up to them. It was a real eye opener, that this merging of these dance rhythms, krautrock, indie, etc. And then acid house was coming to the fore then in the late 80s, and their big acid house evenings at the Hacienda in Manchester, and again that sort of turned them. So they started to fuse these indie guitars with electronic dance music, as other bands were doing as well. So they put out 3 singles on a small indie record label called Sheer Joy Records, Scope, Oh Yes, and their debut single, Perfume. It was Enemy Single of the Week. It got to number 55 in the UK mainstream charts, and it remained in the UK indie chart top 10 for the whole summer of 1990.
Wow.
So it was a bit of an underground anthem. Now, originally, it was an indie jingly jangly guitar track. But it came a very different beast to what you hear now when it was remixed by one of the producers who worked on Blue Monday, by New Order, that guy called Michael Johnson. And apparently they were sort of knocking around the studio when they heard what he'd done to this. They're like, holy shit. So yeah, those guitars you could hear in it, that was basically it all the way through.
Yeah, I loved
He
those
just took
guitars,
it
by the
and
way, and
yeah,
it's
they're
so much
great.
so that I would love. Does that pre-manipulated version exist
I've
out
never
there?
heard it. I've never heard it, so I don't think it does.
Because I
But
would like to hear it just stripped back, just to hear the beauty of those guitars without distraction.
it's nice that he kept them in as well. So you have those, as you say, those the feet in two camps sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you have that really nice sound, and you have obviously this otherworldness that goes off in this swirling patterns. So we'll just get into the lyrics of the song. Not that they're particularly complicated or deep. So you have the lady singing is Jane Gill, and then you have Ricky Turner doing his I'm just coming up from sedation kind of narrative.
Yes, yeah,
He's
really.
really, he's, I doubt he'd care any less if he tried. But perhaps, I mean, that's his style. This is his shtick. Fair enough. So she sings, take a look and tell me what you find. Oh, it's not easy coming down. All the things you tried to say and do, you leave me faceless. It was up to you. And then Mr. Rick, and then they kind of sing it. They sort of take turns and do bits together and whatever. So anyway, he comes in, and I'm going stupid once again. And then she sings, "But I left it up to you." And then your man takes over for the second verse. So silly things are always easy to blame. Try to grow up. Don't always be the same. Don't take the reins and lead me all the way. Don't shut me up. Don't take away my game. Um, and then he sings, and I'm going round the bend again. And then together they sing, and I left it up to you. He says, don't blame me now, because and then together, blame it all on you. And then it goes into that electronic instrumental. It's up to you, baby. It's up to you, baby. It's up to you, baby. And then the outro, he sings, we're going stupid once again. And they both sing, and I left it up to you. So yeah.
So, I mean, aside from just a rift between two people, like what's I don't know, I hear a name like Perfume and I think like infidelity or something, like it's an allusion to like you came home smelling like someone else or something like that, but I don't know, I didn't catch any like overt or explicit allusions to that.
Have you read the Patrick Süskind novel, Perfume?
No, no.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that either.
Well, thanks for bringing it up.
But it's a brilliant book. I
Okay, well, it
highly,
exists. I should
highly
check it out.
recommend
Okay.
it.
All
The
right.
film, not so good, but the book is fantastic. But yeah, I've no idea. I think it's just this, you know what it is. Drugs, vampires, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of or all of them. And knowing how they like to bring things together in this song, it's probably a bit of everything there, isn't it?
I think this is kind of a bit of like a bit of back and forth and a bit of drugs in there as well, So I don't think it's particularly deep. So after this initial sort of semi-underground success, on the back of that, they signed to Virgin Records and they released their only album, Sundew, in 1991 to favorable reviews. And it reached number 37 in the UK charts. And it's a decent album, actually. Then after that, they did record a Peel session as well. And they appeared at, on some telly spots and at various festivals. Just as they were finishing off their second album, Virgin was bought up by EMI. And basically, they did a culling of a lot, sorry, of the bands on Virgin's roster. And Paris Angels were one of the ones to be dropped. And so the completed second album was never released. Just sitting there. Left with no recording contract and the singer Jane Gill pregnant, and the band decided to call it a day in 1992. Apparently, they, a bit like the story of Flowered Up, they partied hard. They partied hard as well. Various drugs. A couple of them got into heroin as well, so that took a long time for them to get straight up from that. So they came to a bit of a an impasse anyway, I think. And they said they always fell out and made up very quickly. You know, you can imagine this sort of chaotic swirling, and there's 7 people in the band, so it's a lot of personalities as well to deal
Yeah,
with.
yeah. A lot of cats to herd there.
And yeah, that would have been quite a scene and a time back then as well. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So following on from that, fast forward 19 years, and Simon Worrell, one of the members of the band, died on the 2nd
Mm.
of November 2011. Apparently, as a side note, apparently at his funeral he had the song "Going Underground" by the Jam played as his coffin was carried out, which I think is a lovely touch.
Oh, that is awesome.
So the band all actually met up at the wake, and for most of them, it was the first time they'd seen each other in 19 years. And they decided to reform for a benefit gig the following year to cover Worrell's funeral costs and also to help funding of a baby unit at a local hospital.
Mm.
And from that, they actually negotiated a deal with Stereo Cube Recordings to finally issue their second album. The deal actually fell through, and the band instead decided, fuck it. So they made the album available as a free download on Bandcamp, so you can go and get it. You know, so that's quite cool.
Well, it's good that that finally got to see the light of day. I was like wondering,
I think they got to the certain point. They said, "I just get it out there." Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter anymore about the money or whatever. Just
yeah.
so they put it out there. So that's really nice, and that's about it in terms of Paris Angels. You know. So yeah, it's as I said before, it's a cool. It is for me, not one of my favorite tracks from that time. It's a decent track, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it is a big old slice of nostalgia, definitely. And just to add from that, this nostalgia thing of that period of time is coming back because last year there was a really nice compilation album came out called Come Together Adventures on the Indie Dance Floor 1989 to 92, I think it was. And just a few of the bands featured on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 or 11 we've actually featured on this channel. So it just shows you. So happy
That
Mondays.
doesn't surprise me.
It's Spiral Carpets, who will feature at some point. James, the very track that we did. New Fast Automatic Daffodils, the very track we did. This track, Bridal Taxis. Future Sound of London, who we featured tampering with Oasis
Oh yeah.
song. Stone Roses, Charlatans, Moonflowers coming up very soon. North Side, World of Twist, that was mentioned by a couple of people recently. Candy Skins, a favorite of mine. Honey Smugglers, that's a funny one. Spaceman 3, who are a seminal band. Primal Scream, one of the first ones we did.
Yeah.
Flowered Up, of course. Saint Etienne, the Primitives, the Wendy's that we've done, King of Slums that we've done, Chapter House, the Soup Dragons, Don't Be Afraid of Your Freedom, Pop Will Eat Itself, Cud, and Carter, Unstoppable Sex Machine. So it's a really good sort of like double trouble album. I downloaded it. So it's for fans of that sort of thing. You've probably got half of the stuff on there, but it's nice to get it all in one.
Yeah, right.
You know, so just whack it on, and you got a couple of hours worth of that sort of late 80s, early 90s baggy matches. A lot of them are remixes as well, and so the interesting 12-inch ones that go a bit mad, which are
That's a
really
badass
cool.
compilation though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
it's really,
one-stop
really, it's
shop.
really fun. It's really good fun. Yeah, and then you line up your mood altering substances, would it be something or other, or just a nice Marmite toast, you know, could be that. Um, and away you go. The evening is yours. Yeah. All right. So I think on that note, I'll wrap things up. And thanks for listening, Sandy. Thanks so much, John James, or 2011 John
Yeah.
James,
Yep.
for suggesting this. This is sort of, I think it's really nostalgic for me. I probably haven't listened to this in God knows how long, so it was cool to listen to it again, and I did enjoy it. And it has that mood and it has that attitude from that time. Brilliant. Folks out there, thanks for listening to this as well. Let us know what you think. Hit the like button if you like this. Drop some comments what you think of this track, House Angels, Manchester, that whole indie dancey, acid housey, crossover, baggy, all sort of sound thing. And there were various iterations of it. Some more electronic than others. Tell us what you think. love to hear all your comments, and I'm sure there'll be a few of you will want to give your 2 pence worth. So please do. If you haven't subscribed already, there's all that good stuff I just listed and more to come. So don't you miss out. We really appreciate everybody who supports the
Yeah.
channel. So hop on board the groovy train, as the farm would say. I hated that song. But anyway, so I won't use that. But yeah, that being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you guys.